Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Event that happened that time, and I was very angry and hurt. And needless to say, and please, I'm not trying to shock anybody, but they'll read it in the book. There were two boys, 21 years old, and they sexually assaulted me in my home.
So sorry.
And I was angry because one of the boys was asking me to be his, to date me. And I was like, I'm too young for you. I'm only 13. You're 21. We should not be together. You should not even think about me. And it bruised his ego. So he would say things like, do you know how many women want me? And I was like, well, good, go to them. Just leave me alone. I'm a child. And he didn't like that. So he would, start berating me and harassing me and cussing me out. And I started saying, you know what? I'm going to stand up for myself. Like I said, I was a strange child. I stood up for myself and told him, no, I'm not going to allow it. You're not going to do this. And I'm done. And then
introducing a powerful new update from the Foojan app. Now with flexible subscription plans to fit your journey monthly, quarterly, or yearly. Our new AI-driven onboarding customizes your path to feeling better, faster, and enjoy a refreshed experience with stunning 3D interactive videos. Update now. Empower your inner voice with Foojan. Download today.
Welcome to The Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Foojan Zeine. I'm a psychotherapist, an author, and the founder of the International Awareness Integration Institute. Today, I speak with Sarodah Aboagye. She's an author, a motivator, a therapist, and a life coach. She believes we find our greatest strengths in our deepest despair, because through that, we grow and learn. In doing so, we become our best individuals that we could be. Seeing people realize their greatest potential is like watching the sunrise and set in the midst of the darkness, the darkest storm. So today we will be talking about her memoir, Love, Forgive, and Live. We had a great conversation. She has an amazing way of sharing her background and her deepest despair and how she was able to come through and then share it with the world, not only with her book and podcast, but also, and her podcast is also called Love, Forgive, Live. And being a therapist and a life coach and helping everyone who really wants to love, forgive, and live. And I'm hoping and sure that you will enjoy this conversation as much as I did. Now, be sure to subscribe to this podcast and my YouTube channel and connect with me through my website, foojanzeine.com, or any of my social media platforms. Go and get the Foojan app so you could go through the 31 areas of your life and talk to Mira, which is the AI chatbot, which has been trained specifically by me, and awareness integration. So she could be your personal coach anytime, anywhere, 24 hours. So share your thoughts with me. I love to hear from you. So without further ado, here's Sarodah Aboagye.
Listen up if you want to promote your personal growth and self-awareness. I found the Foojan app last month and I have been absolutely loving it. I personally have never learned guided meditation, but thanks to this app, I now have learned incredible tools for my own stress relief and emotional self-awareness. Not to mention, there are self-evaluation tools and professional coaching available to utilize however your journey to self-discovery takes you. Join Foojan today and redefine your life one step at a time.
Intentional Parenting, a practical guide to awareness integration theory, written by Dr. Jafari, Dr. Foojan Zeine, and Dr. Manoukian, 3 experts in human development, is your step-by-step guide to raising a healthy child prepared for a culturally integrated world. You're supported in parenting infants to adolescents using the latest evidence-based scientific research on parenting. Order your copy on Amazon now.
Well, it is so nice to have you with us, Sarodah Aboagye, everyone. Welcome to the show.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored and really excited because I would say you are definitely my very first interview since I published my memoir. And it's very exciting. And needless to say, I have to be honest with full disclosure. I was nervous and I don't get nervous often. So usually when I get nervous, even though I do a podcast on my own too, when I get nervous, it's because I'm interviewing my close friends or my family. So when this came about, I was like, why am I nervous? Literally, I woke up with a nightmare that I missed the interview time, that I missed it. And I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh. And I looked at the clock and I realized it was only 9 a.m. And I was like, okay, that means I'm fully aware I have to be here on time because time is very important. And it's one of the things I'm supposed to learn this year, to be on time for things. So,
and I think we had a really great conversation. Thank you for your invitation that I was in your podcast, and we already blasted it out, and I loved it. So yes, we did connect like a good family. Now, I know that you have been kind of, let's say, international. You were born in Ghana, then you were kind of raised in Canada, and then, in the United States.
yeah.
How is it for you to be, let's say, multicultural in your own world in so many? And then you are a psychotherapist, and so you also experience everybody else's culture in a sense. It's very close to
Yes.
sitting with people, and I'm sure that has also produced a lot of wealth of information and experience for you. Can you share a little bit about that experience with us?
Well, thank you for that introduction and explaining my background and who I am today. The most important thing for me was, I think I was mostly, 13 or 14 in Ghana. And I had this inkling. There were three questions I used to ask my grandmother all the time. I used to say, Grandma, where did we come from? And she said, what do you mean by that? And I said, where do we come from? And she said, I don't understand that question. I was like, Grandma, I'm asking you a question. I want an answer. And she said, okay, I don't know what kind of question that is. I don't know how to answer that. And I was like, okay, well, where are we from as human beings? And she's like, uh, um, uh, so she tells me one thing. And I said, well, where were we before? And she's like, oh, I don't, you're asking too many questions. And then I will calm down. And then something will happen. Then I'll go back to the question, what am I doing here? Who am I? Why is this happening? And why am I here? Then I go back again and I will keep asking that question. So that was a yearning on the inside of me from a very early age. And I will say it, and people will look at me and be like, of course, they will turn around and be like, how old is she? And my grandma would be like, I know she's a child, but she's asking pretty big questions. Then the second thing was, I started feeling that I'm just an important human being, just like everybody else. So I wanted to be treated right. When my grandparents, because in Ghana, one of the things that we do is children are only seen and not heard. And I was lucky enough or blessed enough to be born with a gift of gab. I spoke my mind at a very early age. I questioned everything, and I was constantly curious and wanting to learn. Even though I didn't have a whole lot, but I wanted to learn. So I would ask, and then that yearning will come back again. And then I will ask questions like, why am I here? And then I watched how the adults treated me. I didn't like it. So I made up my mind that I'm going to be different from all of them. I wanted to show every child that I could relate to them. And that was my first instinct. I don't know why, but I had that feeling that I wanted to let the person or the kids that I was around with, that I wanted them to know that I was no different from them. I get them. And I was always going to listen and hear what they had to say and play with them and be at the level that they needed me to be. I don't know why, but that was an inkling on the inside of me at 13 years old. I was driven from that age. So there was a traumatic event that happened that time, and I was very angry and hurt. And needless to say, and please, I'm not trying to shock anybody, but they'll read it in the book. There were two boys, 21 years old, and they sexually assaulted me in my home.
So sorry.
And I was angry because one of the boys was asking me to be his, to date me. And I was like, I'm too young for you. I'm only 13. You're 21. We should not be together. You should not even think about me. And it bruised his ego. So he would say things like, do you know how many women want me? And I was like, well, good, go to them. Just leave me alone. I'm a child. And he didn't like that. So he would, start berating me and harassing me and cussing me out. And I started saying, you know what? I'm going to stand up for myself. Like I said, I was a strange child. I stood up for myself and told him, no, I'm not going to allow it. You're not going to do this. And I'm done. And then he went on, and I should have caught it, but I'm 13. I don't have all the intelligent things to say or do at that time. I'm only 13. I may come up with some intelligent things to say at one time, but that doesn't mean I know all the ins and outs of everything. And then he would say things like, your mom. And I was like, oh, you crossed the line here. You touch somewhere I don't want you to touch. So I came back swinging and I just started hurling insults at him. And I was like, no, you crossed the line. This is between you and me. Why do you have to bring my mom into it? I'm going to go there. Mm-hmm. And then he got more mad that I went there with him. Mm-hmm. And so needless to say, they came at me and did what they did. And in Ghana, unfortunately, and please don't come for me, but this is what I've experienced, and I'm speaking what my experience is. Children, when things happen to them, and they report it, it's not taken seriously. Rather, they will say, oh, yeah, that's a family handler, it's a family issue. And I wasn't having it. So when that happened, immediately, I went to the police station. I didn't change my clothes. I didn't clean myself. I went straight to the police station. And I said, look at me, look at all these bruises, look at what happened to me. This is what these boys did. And the police officer was like, well, what did you do before they did that to you? And I was like, excuse me? And I was angry with her. And I was like, you're a female. And I've come to you with this situation that I've been violated. And she said, look how your lips are moving. You are a little kid. You're talking like this. What did you do before they did this to you? And I was angry with her. And she shushed me away. I went away with a very bitter lesson. I was like, wow, another female will not stand up for me. Mm-hmm. She wouldn't hear me and she didn't believe me. Rather, she blamed me and asked me, what did I do? So with that disillusion, I went to my great-grandmother and I spoke to her. She said, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Mm-hmm. And she called my uncles and said, I need to have a meeting with you. This is what happened to your niece, my great-grandchild. I'm not going to sit by and watch her cry about this and you guys not do anything about it. Do something about it. And I love my great-grandma. God bless her soul. She is a fighter and a strong woman. And so she told them, and they went and apprehended the young man, took them to the police station and told the police, arrest them or we will have them on the street. Mm-hmm. So the guys were arrested. And after this day, I'm stunned because I've heard other people's stories where nobody advocated for them like that. So that gave me a drive for me to always stand up, speak up for myself. And if I'm watching somebody gets hurt, I stand up for them. And that's why sometimes I will go to places where if I hear someone is gossiping about somebody, even though I don't know the person, I start fighting for that person. And people go, but you don't know them. And I said, but I am here and I'm hearing this about somebody who is not present. And I will not partake in this and not advocate for them.
Yes.
So that was when I was like, okay, I'm a little weird. And my cousins would say, she's a strange one. It's like she fixed a fight. No, it's because I always believe in social justice and standing up for people's rights and as a human being. And that was one thing that allowed me to start seeing like, wait a minute, me being kind to children is not just to children, it's to everybody. And I started seeing myself that I am a citizen of the world and I am so connected to everyone and everything. And that has become a thing inside of me all along, and I've never left it.
And that helps actually going from, being an immigrant and to other countries, when you feel connected to everyone, regardless, then
yes,
it creates the process much more at ease.
Yes.
Hence, you were talking about loving everyone, and that's the first word of the name of your book, Love, Forgive, and Live.
Yes.
First of all, why those three words show up for you to put on your book?
Well, I know this may sound strange, but I'm one of those people that dream a lot. I dream a lot. I have several journals that have been filled with my dream book, and I had a dream. And in this dream, it felt like I had this angel or this guide that was telling me that humanity is struggling too much. But we needed to focus on three things. The first thing is know whose you are, where you're from, and who you are. And I was like, huh? And then it went on and explained. I said, love. You come from the source. You come from God. You are loved. You were created because of love. Mm-hmm. And love is in you. And you are in love. Because of that, love yourself. Know that the love that you have is already within you. The love you seek is already within you. Seek that. Love yourself. When you love yourself, now you are free to forgive, because when we love ourselves, we start to see where we have not been in alignment with who we are, our authentic self, as to how we relate to one another. So we have to forgive, because the forgiveness is a gift to give to yourself, not to the other person. Forgive so that you can be free to live the life you're meant to live, your purpose, to live on purpose. You can't get to your purpose if you're being held back with things like, I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy to be loved. And these words I'm speaking of is words that I spoke of myself, because at 11 years old, my mom left Ghana and went to Ivory Coast. She got married and left. And she said she was coming back in a year. And unfortunately, she didn't come back. By then, my father was already in Canada. So both my parents were gone. And I was left to the device of my relatives and whomever will have me. Unfortunately, those that I was with, not everybody was kind to me. So that started my traumas. And people were just cruel. People would hit, people would beat. I had someone who used food as punishment that wouldn't feed me. And so I started becoming scared of hunger, because hunger was a punishment for me. And I remember one time I had to journal this to come to the roots of it, and found out that I would eat everything from my plate, clean it up. Not one muscle would be left on it. Then I was like, what is wrong with me? And I had gained a significant amount of weight. And I was like, no, this gotta be wrong. Something is going on. I'm working now. I have my own refrigerator full of food. Why am I still eating this way? And I clean my plate. I would go to my friend's house and they'll give me food. I'll clean the plate and literally chew the bones. And they were like, do you need some more food? And I'm like, no, I'm full. They said, well, why are you doing that? And I said, well, I just like it. They were like, okay. But then so I started asking myself questions. Well, my mother, because she left and all these people did what they did with me, the trauma was so significant that I stopped learning. I stopped learning. And by the time my father came to Ghana at 15 years old, I could not read, write, or speak English.
Oh.
And he brought the Canadian immigration papers and he said, read it. He was so excited. He was anticipating me reading the paper and getting the idea and be like, oh, Dad, I'm coming with you. For the first time, I'll be under the same roof with my father. Why not? But I'm looking at the paper. I look at my father's face. I looked and I looked and I looked because I'm trying to find the answers in his face. Well, he's not. So he's like, and then for a while, and I came up with the word, the. And he's like, wait a minute, you can't read. He was stunned. He said, do you know how much money I sent home for you to get yourself educated? Do you know how many people I sent money to? Do you know how many businesses I built with my hard-earned money? I was in Saskatchewan. Do you know how cold it is in Saskatchewan? I'm like, well, I never got any. I was just shoved into the nearest local school, wherever, and didn't learn anything. And he's like, I don't understand. And I said, well, I would go to some of the schools. I would go to school maybe 3 days a week or 4 days a week. But I would hike so much, and by the time I get there, I'm tired. And then when I get there, I don't have enough money for food. And then to know that transportation to go back home is going to be a problem. So, you know what? And with all that I was going through, the beating and all that, I was stressed. So I would go to the classroom and be daydreaming. I would have fantasies of how my life would turn out right. I would daydream and have all these scenarios in my head. So whenever teacher is teaching, I'm not there. I am off in a trip on my own in my mind. And my father was like, what? And then he told one of his cousins and his brothers, well, I talked to her. I'm going to take her to Canada. And they were like, you're going to do what? Okay, hold up. You realize she's a girl. If you educate her, she's going to become a housewife to somebody. It's a waste of your time and money.
Wow.
Don't do it.
Wow.
Go ahead and just, start over, go marry somebody and start over, have your kids over there in Canada and raise them right. This one, just leave her here. Then he's like, no, she's my daughter. I'm taking her. And they were like, my dad's name is Emmanuel, but his nickname is Sugar. They said, Sugar, let me tell you this. This girl, one of his brothers, this girl, let me tell you who she really is. She is so dumb. Her brain is so slow. Let me put it this way. It's cold. And let me tell you, the water in the cooler is warmer than her brain.
Nasty.
And he said, don't take her. It's a waste. He said, well, either way, she's still my daughter, so I'll take her. And then he asked me, so if I take you to Canada, what are you going to do? And I said, I will learn. And I told my dad, I give you my word.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said, okay, I won't question you about it. And he took me. And it took some time.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 months, I was angry. I kept remembering all the negative things people were saying to me. The trauma had gotten to a place where I was beginning to believe the lies people were telling me. That you can't amount to anything. You're nothing. You never get anywhere. You're waste. And so I got angry with him and I said, why did you bring me here? What was the point? They told you I wasn't smart enough. They told you I couldn't do it. Now I'm struggling. People are laughing at me. When they say something, I don't understand them. I misinterpret it. So I would do the silliest things and they would laugh at me. So why did you do this? Then he said, it's already done. I found you a different school. Meanwhile, I was running away from home and he found me and he told me to come and sit down because it was cold. And I said, why? I can't do it. He said, well, you know what? I got you a better school. This one is an English immersion school. there's a teacher there who would work with you because they have an ESL program, English as a Second Language program. If you're willing to do this, I've already registered you. So Monday, starting Monday, you're going there. And I just cried. And he said, you got to tell me what is going on. And we went home. And within a year, my sweet Mrs. Thompson, I know she's no longer with us, she sat down with me. She would pull me out of class and take me to the library. And she would help me and teach me. In 1 year, I was able to move up because they put me in grade 7 and 8. And I was able to move up, graduated, reading, writing, and speaking English in 1 year. And I went to the 9th grade. And that started my journey. Like, whoa, I started learning everything inside, reading anything. My ability to learn became insatiable. Mm-hmm. And I became so excited. So fast forward, when I had that dream, I was still struggling with self-love. I started having the thought that anyone who loved me either left me or died.
Yes.
And I wasn't worthy. And I remember even at 19, my father gave me a birthday card and he said, happy birthday to a daughter who is so loved, but she doesn't know how much she's loved. And I read that and I was like, huh? And it didn't dawn on me until later on in my life, probably in my 40s. I started going, oh, so that's what that meant. And so after I had that dream about love, forgive, live, I felt like it was a message being sent to me too, not just to humanity, but to me, that I needed to just love myself.
Yes.
And embrace the fact that I am worthy of that love. I'm enough. And then forgive those who have hurt me that made me feel I'm not worthy.
Yes.
Then I let go and then started owning me and my words and my worthiness and that I'm enough. And after doing things like that, I started realizing, oh, now my mind is opening up to, I'm supposed to do my best to help others clear up this mess and come to this place. So I remember when I had the dream, I drew, the cover, this is what I dreamt, and I put it up and I drew it that day. I was so excited and I drew it. And so hence the book came up with the cover looking like this. I had the cover before I even wrote the story, and everything came up as it should. And that's how the title came about. And it became the name that I also gave to the podcast.
Yeah. The beauty is that there has been a lot of suffering. It's almost like seeing the worst of humanity around you and then seeing, someone to love you and believe in you and come in to take care of you. And even though they weren't there before or prior to that, in another way, they were trying to be there for you, but you never knew. They were sent.
Yes.
They were working, thinking of you. They were accumulating finances to be there for you, and they trusted other people to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
So many beautiful conversations about, the differences that society had put in about, whether women are worthy or not, and men are worthy and women are not worthy. They're not worthy to be to be invested on, to be taking,
yes.
to be, to put time on.
Mm-hmm.
Father knew that you are my daughter, and I'm going to love you. But the next level is that I think what I heard from you, which is, even though then love came, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't, it wasn't like
yes,
you couldn't experience it. You couldn't let it in.
Yes.
And the beauty of love is that you finally do let it in, and you were able to let it in and really receive it. And
mm-hmm.
when you were able to receive that love, then you were able to love yourself and then allow yourself to forgive others. And that became the cornerstone of how you could also be there for others, who many people have gone through similar stories, or stories that have at least made them feel the same, whether the events were
mm-hmm.
different
mm-hmm.
internally. They felt unloved, uncared, unseen, unheard, and belittled in so many ways, and thought that they were worthless. And then through your experience and coming through from it and moving forward, and the last word is live. And it's true, like when the love is there, when the forgiveness is there, then living begins, surviving ends. And then thriving begins with life. And that's what you've created, not only for yourself, but sharing it as a therapist, sharing it as a podcast host, sharing it with the world, so they get to also, and your book, to get to know how this process can happen, regardless of the circumstances that were taken away from you.
Yes, that's very crucial for me when both in my work and my volunteer work. I remember I was coaching teachers who had come here as immigrants to teach, and the difficulty they had with the culture shock and how to navigate the school system and how to teach, and they were like, how? And I said, you know what? As an immigrant, this is what I learned, and this is how I felt. And I explained to them that even though they came here to teach and I came here to learn and open up about learning, we are still walking the same journey. We are all trying to navigate the system, trying to navigate the North American culture, and either make a decision to assimilate or make a decision to recognize that assimilation is necessary, but at the same time, you want to preserve your culture and your cultural belief systems and take the best that you can to help you navigate the system, the culture, the way things are done, and how kids respond to that. And they were like, they didn't think it would be that difficult. And I was like, yeah, you never think it would be that difficult until you get here. And nobody really explains it to you. Even when we go back home and we explain to people, listen, it's very difficult to come here and try and quote unquote make it or survive. And they're like, oh, you've been there, you're enjoying, you don't want anybody to come. We wish it would be that easy, but it's not. First you have to try, and the accent becomes a problem, the language barrier. Then you're trying to even navigate the food. You're trying to find out with the education system how it operates and what is going on. There's a lot happening. And you go, the society's expectations and norms, because Ghana society's expectation and norms are completely different from the North American education or North American system or cultural expectations and social norms. It's completely different. We think it's the same. No, it's not. I hear, young ladies who say, oh, society tells me how I should be. And then I was like, oh, what is that? Explain it. And then they would tell me, and I was like, whew, it's tough out here. It's really tough. And then I asked the young ladies when I go to Ghana, they said, oh, I'm just expected to do well in school and make sure I do something to bring to the family. But here it's a completely different thing to be a female.
Right.
Social norms are different. You're expected to behave in certain social cues to recognize it. You're expected to be certain weight, certain height, certain food. I mean, it's a lot. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's tough being a female here. And so when I speak to people, I look at it from the point of view that, you're coming here with a lot. But there's a lot that has to be learned, and a lot of things we have to forego to learn the new things that is here to be able to assimilate in or not. Whatever your decision may be, it can be a very arduous journey.
Yes, obviously I'm an immigrant, and I work with a lot of immigrants who within the first year or so they're landed. And the process of like you said, of assimilation. And I think after a while, especially if they have moved to a location which they can find some of their own culture, they acculturate more and they hold that part of their culture. But if they move to a city or a state that they don't have anyone who represents their own culture, they kind of like are forced to assimilate. And yes, there's a lot that they have to learn, depending on, whether they came from west to west or east to east, east to west. And, what is it that they have to experience? What is it that they have to let go about who they are, their personality, their culture? And, hopefully, and I think most of people attempt to hold on to the best of their own culture and then pick up the best of what they saw in the new world and kind of combine the two together to be able to thrive in and so yes, that is a process where there's a lot of grief happens, there's a lot of there's a lot of anxiety that shows up. And I usually see about depression and anxiety the first a year or even two until find their footing in where So yes, immigration, acculturation, assimilation is not an easy process. But obviously, because of the global construct, there's a lot going on in this. And not, you used to be only from Eastern world to the Western world. And now it's also the other side, which there's a lot of people from Western world going to the other side because of work, because of global economy that we have, and you can or even retirement. Now you have a lot of people who are for retirement. They go back to their own countries or other countries, and you can see the effect on the other side.
Yes, I completely agree.
And the same thing. The three words have a meaning everywhere. They're true everywhere.
Yes.
Love, forgive, and live. I want to go a little bit into the forgive, because I think that it's so true that if we're not able to forgive, the rage, the anger, the hatred, it's not only toward the outside world, it leaks in, it is also toward us, and it doesn't allow us to flourish.
No.
It gets us ill. So there's hone into that forgiveness. And I'm not saying, and I hope that people hear it, that I'm not saying that it's a flipper of a hand and and it's a snap that happens. Forgiveness is a process.
Oh, a big process.
It's a big process, and it's so important for people to know that it is available and that they become free when that happens. But they have to go through the process. What are your thoughts and what are your experience on the element of forgiveness?
I think forgiveness is extremely essential for a person's own mental health, emotional development, emotional growth, even developing their own emotional intelligence. Forgiveness is a very pivotal part of all that growth. If we do not learn or understand or even practice forgiveness, I promise you, your emotional growth will get stunted. Your mental health will not go any further than just at the doorstep. Your ability to operate with humanity becomes limited. And after all that, you recognize that you become isolated in a world of your own where you are stuck, because we can only project what we have within us.
Yes.
If we start forgiving, we start forgiving ourselves. We begin with the forgiveness of ourselves, then we forgive those who wronged us. I spoke to a gentleman some time ago and I was asking him, how do we forgive? And he gave me 3 pointers. He said, first, forgive yourself. Forgive your parents. Forgive those friends, people that you may not even know that have wronged you. Then forgive the one who made you, because a lot of people hold anger towards their creator. And I'll hear people say, well, I don't believe, or I don't care, if this was real, why would I suffer like this? And anytime I hear that, I was like, so you are acknowledging that there is a creator, something higher than yourself. because you're blaming that for your pain. And sometimes people go, oh, yeah, okay, well, whatever. These things are important for your own health. Without forgiveness, honestly, you start getting sicker and sicker. That's why when I have clients come to me and I always ask this question, it's like the 3 questions I always ask them. Number 1, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired?
Yes.
Then I'm like, your answer that you gave me would tell me if I want to take you on as a client or not. Number 2, why did you come here? And if so, did someone urge you to come here? Did someone give you an ultimatum to come here? Or otherwise, things will end. Why? And they're like, no, I decided, it's time. And I was like, okay. Then the 3rd one, I asked them, is there any deal breakers that you're not willing to do for your own healing and health? And they're like, that's a tough one. I was like, well, it depends. And then I said, okay, your answer is going to determine if we can have a client and therapist relationship or not. And they paused and I said, if you need some time to think about it and you don't want to answer it today, that's fine. And they would be like, well, when you say it's a deal breaker, I'm not going to do something and I was like, within normal range, I'm not going to try and have you try and jump out of a plane when it's not necessary. And they're like, okay. These are telltale signs that you're willing to work on yourself, because forgiveness comes from that self-examination. When you forgive, you realize you get free. You get free how? Why? And I always tell people, well, when you forgive, you realize your shoulders feels lighter. You don't walk around feeling this way. Some people say, quote unquote, with a chip on your shoulders. You don't walk around with triggers where anything somebody says, you're ready to jump up, you're ready to go and fight, and then be ready to be, anything like that. It's like, whoa, chill. That tells me forgiveness hasn't taken place. Forgiveness is so crucial because research shows, if you go and look it up, when people forgive, they sleep better.
Mm-hmm.
They think clearly. They are better able to solve problems because they will think about, hey, maybe I haven't looked here. But if you're holding on to stuff and not forgiving, you're hurting yourself. I heard someone say, forgiveness is like, not forgiving is like taking poison and hoping somebody else dies for it. But you're the one who is hurting and dying on the inside. Forgiveness opens doors for you to begin to see where you need to improve yourself. Because when you forgive, you start noticing, okay, how I should have handled that would have been different. I should have done this. Now I learned something. It frees you. And I always say it's like when you don't forgive, you created a prison and held those who hurt you, the perpetrators, and put them in prison. You become the prisoner, executioner, and the warden. And you have the prison keys. You have it on you, and you are chained to the prison. Now you drag it along with you everywhere. Now it's become a baggage, and it touches everybody around you. Mm-hmm. But when you forgive, you open that prison door, release that person, so you can be free. You no longer have to be chained to that person. And I always ask clients when I'm working with them on forgiveness, I said, let me ask you a question. What the person did to you, do you believe that person still deserves your time? Do they deserve your present and your future? And they go, excuse me? And I'm like, well, it's a question. Do they deserve any more of your time? Well, no. And I said, so why are you still giving it to them? They're not here. Meanwhile, you've given them control over you.
And it's the healing. It's really the forgiveness is part of your own healing through this journey.
Yes.
Some of that, it isn't about a forgetting. It's about forgiving and letting go, for you to let go of that pain. Because, and it doesn't, forgiving does not mean that you're okay with what they did. It just, that you're releasing and relieving yourself of that and
Yes.
allowing yourself to live.
Yes.
It's coming to and it's beautiful the way that you share your own experiences, and you landed with others and how they can relate to you and with some of the experiences you've had and possibly they've had, and how they can sometimes we look at someone and saying, okay, they've passed through so much adversary and they've gotten themselves into the space that they are today in a successful place, and they're allowing their stories and their experiences to be an inspiring space for others and a path for others, not necessarily to move along your footsteps, but to find their own path and to heal themselves. So everyone, go get this book, Love, Forgive, and Live. Anything we haven't shared that you really want people to know, Sroda?
Well, I will share this. Then they'll find out to me from the book. But I used to suffer from severe, like when I mean severe anxiety and panic attacks. Some of them, it'll happen so badly that I would literally pass out because I would be in a frenzy. In my undergrad, that's when I became aware of it because I didn't know that I was struggling with that until another incident happened that was traumatic that just threw me for a loop, and I completely dissociated to the point that I was in a park, like not in this fields, like walking towards the highway, and I didn't know how I got there. And then when I came to, I was like, I got so frightened. And that's when I started my journey to therapy. And it was one of the most important things for me to do. And what I would like everyone to walk away is this. Therapy is not something that you feel like, oh, I will have to do this, otherwise I won't get this ABCD. But it's a tool to allow you to delve into yourself and find your strength, find your voice, and become the person that you want to be. Discover that person, because everything can be healed. You just have to give yourself the chance to learn and understand that you're worthy. And I have a friend who read the book. She said, oh, I cried, I laughed, and then I was like, oh, she said, I felt like I had therapy. And I was like, oh, well, when I was writing, there was one incident I was writing about. It was so intense because I had to recall things to write. I ended up going through the panic and experiencing it again. And then I was like, wait, I haven't gone through this for almost like 18 years. Why is this coming up again? And I went to work and I spoke to my supervisor, and she's like, Sroda, you're writing, you were bringing up emotions. So it triggers something. So that means there's still more work for you to do. Absolutely.
Yes. Where could people find you, Sroda?
Well, they can always reach me on this email, love, LUV, the number 4, give, GIVE, live, LIVE, at gmail.com. They could always reach me with that email. They can also find the book on Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, Reader House. They can also find it on barnesandnoble.com, both the digital and then the physical book. It's one way that you can reach. We don't have the audiobook yet. It'll be coming, but right now, those are the genres, that we have them in. Somebody has offered to interpret it into, or translate it into Hindi. So we're working on that. Any other language that anyone wants me to interpret it into, let me know, or translate the book into, let me know, contact me, and I will see what we can do, and we can work with the publisher for wherever you want us to work on.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Everyone, go get the book, Love, Forgive, Live by Sarodah Aboagye. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing.
No, thank you. It's been my pleasure, and I appreciate the time that you've given and this opportunity. I knew when I interviewed you, I was like, oh, I hit it off. I said, I met a sister. And so this felt so right. And thank you. I appreciate you so much. And And I hope we do find a way to collaborate in the future.
Absolutely. I love to. And for all of
Thank you.
you out there, if you liked what you heard, please give it a 5-star review, go around, share it with other people, let other people know about this, and create an amazing life for yourself and everyone around you. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
When I join Anabasis Academy, what do I get and what I don't get?
What do you get? What don't you get? You don't get a certificate because certificates never guarantee prosperity. You don't get generic so-called practical advice and recipes because you're unique and they hardly ever work. You don't get a bunch of shallow motivational nonsense because the only one who can motivate you is you. You will. You will get provoked and you will get fresh perspectives to consider. You'll get to activate your mindfulness, to tool up and move up, to discover your talents and gain confidence. And like all other remarkable people, if you engage and act, you will get a uniquely yours opportunity to evolve and shape your future.
Visit anabasisacademy.org. Explore the difference, experience it, and make a difference.
Are you a psychotherapist looking to enhance your practice? The Awareness Integration Therapy developed by Dr. Foojan Zeine is a comprehensive guide to the principle and techniques of this powerful therapeutic approach. Join the growing community who have elevated their practice and expanded their skills by embracing Awareness Integration Therapy and witnessing its life-changing impact. Order your copy on Amazon now.